Hey, this is Chad with Be Gone for Good. Today we're going to be talking about a few reasons why the CB500X from Honda is the absolute best adventure bike you can get as a new rider. Let's check out that intro. First off, let me get out a little disclaimer here. Everybody's got their favorite bikes, everybody's got different opinions about what makes a good or bad adventure bike. If you have a different bike that you think is a better option for new riders, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. But for right now, I'm going to go through a few of the reasons why I think the CB500X cannot be beat. First off, one of the greatest things about the CB500X is the fact that this engine has been made since 2013 and is put in 3 different models from Honda: the X, the F, and the R. All 3 of those bikes have the exact same engine and basic components going with them, which means that thousands and thousands and thousands of these bikes have been sold all over the world. So if you ever need parts, if you ever need maintenance, that engine has been seen by every place that you've ever gone. It's a really, really common engine. It's bulletproof. It's been going on for years and years now. It's a great option for anybody who's looking for long-term travel, is looking for just a commuter bike, something that you need to tool around on, or if you want to do the big-time off-road stuff. This bike is a great option because of the fact that that engine has been everywhere in this world at some point or another. The second reason why I think the CB500X is a great option for new adventure riders is because all of adventure motorcycling is a little bit of a trade-off in a few different categories. You want to have the highway speed capability and the comfort on the highway while also maintaining a lighter, more nimble off-road experience. The CB500X runs a center line really nicely down these 2 sides, giving you both the capability to run highway speeds and be comfortable, while also having a lighter, nimble bike that you can use in the off-road that still has enough rugged capability to be able to maintain on some really, really tough trails. I know I took this bike off-road in the Badlands, and it performed admirably out there. And I also did a 12,000 mile trip down through Mexico and Central America, and it did incredibly well there. There was a little bit of top end that I struggled with on the CB500X, but as long as you're keeping underneath 80 miles an hour, you really should never have an issue with that ceiling. But it's a great bike that still is very, very comfortable on the highway while providing you a lot of capability in the off-road. Speaking of off-road, one of the other things that really throws the CB500X over the top, especially some of the older models if you're looking to get a used bike, is the ability to add the Rally Raid kit to this. As a stock bike, it is fantastic. It does more than what it needs to be a great first adventure bike. But if you want just a little bit extra, if you want to tweak it up just a little bit, and you have some of those older models, you can get the Rally Raid kit, which improves your rear suspension, improves your front suspension, gives you a bunch of different extras in there to really boost this thing up to that next level of off-road capability. And I've seen people do some extraordinarily gnarly trails with a CB500X with the Rally Raid kit attached to it. And that's something that you can add for a relatively low price on an already fairly cheap adventure bike, which makes it a great option. Because of that Rally Raid kit, I had an opportunity to really break this bike apart right off the bat, which means that it's gotta be really, really approachable. This has to be an easy bike to take apart and put back together. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do it. If you have any sort of mechanical sense at all, you will be very comfortable with this bike, removing everything out of it and putting everything back in. It's wildly, wildly approachable, which I think makes this a great starter bike also because it's not overloaded with a ton of electronics and fairings that are getting in your way and all sorts of other things that some of these adventure bikes have that really make them a little bit intimidating, especially to new riders. The CB500X comes apart easily, goes back together easily, and there's so much information out there because of this bike has been out there for so long. Everybody can help you with any issues that you run across. I know that I had a hard time with the triple clamp getting some of the bolts out. I just went online and within 30 minutes I had an answer as to how to deal with that specific problem because 20 somebodies prior to me had dealt with that issue before also. This bike has been out there for a long time. It is very, very easy to work on and a lot of guys are doing it. It's a great option for new adventure bikers if you do plan on working on your bike while you're out there. Now I know this next one may not apply to everybody, but for me, it was a really big deal to see the huge variety of accessories that were available for this bike. Again, it's been made for a while, it's a very, very common model, so of course, manufacturers all across the spectrum are making tons of different things for this, from foot bags to bark busters to handles and grabs and bags and any sort of option that you want to add to that bike, you can find for the CB500X, which means you can really make it your own. You can really make it a comfortable bike for you. You can change anything that isn't working and upgrade anything that you would like to see a little bit beefier, because you have 1,000 different options for accessories for this bike. It reminds me in that sense a little bit of the Jeep Wrangler. If you go onto catalogs for Jeep Wranglers, you can find, bumpers and roll bars and lights and just anything to customize it and make it specific to you. And the CB500X is very much that same way, that you can tailor this bike to exactly what you're looking for, because so many manufacturers put a lot of time and R&D into these things. Another great part of the CB500X that didn't matter as much to me because I'm from the States, but makes a huge difference in Europe, is this bike comes in under those A2 licensing requirements, which means new riders have this bike as an option, whereas a lot of those leader bikes aren't available to them right off the bat. This is a great bike to have as that first option, as I said before, because it hits all of those different categories. It's a great on-road highway bike. It's also a great off-road bike, while allowing you to buy it as your first bike under those A2 licensing requirements. The last thing I want to mention about this bike that makes it the greatest option for new riders is because it's tough and flexible. Tough in the sense that it's built with Honda quality, it's built with Honda craftsmanship, it will ride forever. I'm sure that it's not difficult to find somebody out there that's got 100,000 miles on this bike and has ridden it around the world. It is a great, rugged, bulletproof type bike, and Honda stands behind that quality for a long time. But it's also really flexible. Flexible in the sense that you can take it highway riding and only highway riding and have a completely competent and very well capable bike. You can also go completely off-road with it and find it does a great job out there as well. Maybe a tire change is in order, but stock suspension will take you off-road into some really hairy areas and be really happy with it. Like I'd said before, I had an opportunity to take this bike in my first year of riding all the way out to the Badlands in South Dakota, and then all the way down to Honduras in Central America. And both of those trips were made so much better because of this bike. Knowing it very well, because I had taken it completely apart and put it completely back together. Also because it is such an easy bike to ride. The moment you first get on it, it feels comfortable. It doesn't feel heavy. It's balanced extraordinarily well. It's just a great first bike to get on, to inspire confidence, to build your skills up, and really get to that point where if you need to graduate, great, you've had a great starter. If not, there's a lot of people that will spend years and years and years on this bike. There's a lot of people that have downgraded from leader bikes and those bigger ones to the CB500X because it's so much more comfortable for them, especially if you're doing off-road and you want a little bit lighter capability. This is the perfect bike for you. So to wrap it all up, if you're out there shopping for new adventure bikes, if you're a new adventure rider, if you have any questions that I didn't get to specifically about the CB500X, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'll probably have a chance to get back to you, or somebody else will, because like I said, there's a lot of fans of this bike out there. But it is a phenomenal option for new riders because it's total utility, because you can do anything on this bike. It may not be the perfect bike in any one of those categories, but as an overall bike, it is absolutely a gem, and you would be remiss not to take a look at that as your top option if you're looking at adventure motorcycling. I know that a lot of those older models are also going extremely cheap right now. You can get a used one for probably about $2,000–3,000, which is incredible value for a bike that'll go forever. The new ones have a lot of the upgrades that I had mentioned earlier with the stock suspensions and a little bit more clearance and a little bit more capability when it comes to the off-road side, and those are great values as well. It's a perfect bike to get into, and you will love it every day that you've got it. Thank you very much for watching our video all about the CB500X. If you like this sort of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We do stuff like this all the time. Also hit that bell so you get notifications anytime we upload a new video. Thanks again. See you soon.